Welcome to the DS podcast. I'm your host, Somji, and today we have a special guest joining us for today's episode. Let me give you a hint though. If you haven't guessed it, just look at the thumbnail. If you have, you're right. We have Syed Ali Hakeem. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the podcast.
Wassalam, Habibi Abbas. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you for coming. So Syed is a professional reciter and a dua reciter, Nasheed, Noha, and alhamdulillah we've had a chance to host him here in Dar es Salaam. In fact, he's been here as a judge in the show of Shia's Got Talent as well. How do you find Dar es Salaam so far?
Yeah, everyone's been very welcoming. The weather is very humid. So normally when you go to these eastern countries, it's hot, but you've got a lot of humidity here. You really feel it. But it's nice. Alhamdulillah, atmosphere is great. The people are very friendly and welcoming.
How about the food?
The food, so due to my unfortunate stomach issues, I am limited on what I can eat. And I know that the Khoja community, they do love their spice.
Cocoa chips.
So I can't have spice, so I'm really limited. However, they've been very nice with the selection of fruits. So we've had different things, including sugarcane. Have you had a sugarcane before?
Yeah, I love it.
Basically, it's a huge stick, and when you chew on it, sugar comes out. Obviously, the name gives it away. Banging. So the Bandali family have been looking after us, and they just turn up with this huge stick. So yeah, very nice, alhamdulillah. And the mosque has a lot of activities, which I'm sure we can get into.
Alhamdulillah. So let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us about how your journey started from as a child to where you are today?
Sure. So I started reciting when I was 10 years old. I was inspired by my father, who he migrated from Iraq at a young age, 17, due to the issues with Saddam. He was a Quran reciter over there. My grandfather was a scholar, so he picked up the whole Quran recitation. And then he came over to the UK due to those unforeseen circumstances, or rather unfortunate circumstances. He started doing Quran, but then he saw that there was a demand of Aza recitation, which is Nohas in Arabic, which call it Latmiya. And he started doing Latmiya at a young age. He had his group of friends who used to encourage him and motivate him, or do it like this. You know, these guys are just pioneering over there.
Yeah.
And, you know, he just stayed there. Obviously got married to my mum. We came, and then we, in the mosque, Dar al-Hadi, that's where we grew up. So my dad used to recite, and all the kids used to be at the front and then do matem. So I thought, right, I want to do this one day. And then we also got inspired by people like Mullah Basim Karbala, as did so many other reciters. And that's how we really started the journey of recitation from then till now. At the age of 12, a big scholar in the Arab community called Sayyid Jawi, who is arguably the best at masa'ib in Arabic. You can just search his name on YouTube. So. Fantastic person. And I was reciting after him the majlis. So he did the lecture and the masa'ib. I did the noha after him. And he then gave feedback to the family that he was staying with. And he basically said, this child has got a future. And for me, being a 12-year-old, obviously you don't really have a skill set, because I literally just started.
But he could see it in you.
But, you know, either he could see it in me, or he was giving words of encouragement just to motivate me. I don't know the intention behind it. Regardless, it was very nice of him. And then he also gave me a poetry book.
Really?
And he signed it. And from that day, I was really, really motivated to carry on. And then we carried on our journey from there.
So I've had this question that for most people, young reciters, reaching puberty can be a bummer because of the voice change. But for some people, it actually makes the voice even better. So I wonder, how's it for you?
Yeah, so you definitely will have a period of vocal instability due to the vocal change. That does affect everyone.
Yeah.
Then if you keep practicing throughout that period, it will stabilize and it will enhance the voice. So those people who say, oh, it's gone better after it's because they were practicing throughout. So you just have to get through that phase. Once you get through that phase, it's almost, I wouldn't say it's a make or break, but rather it's a time period of sensitivity. So look after your voice, train, practice, and then you'll get through it.
But did your voice change like drastically or anything?
So for myself, I would say so. Yeah, I think when I was 11, you know, or was it 12? Around that age, it changed. But my voice is a higher pitch.
Yeah.
So you have bass, baritone, tenor. Mine's the highest pitch for a male voice.
Yeah.
Where I've got other friends, they're like my father is probably in the middle baritone. Muhammad Yusuf, who decided to stop his career of recitation at a very young age due to a bad comment by an uncle, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so the bandal who I'm staying at,
Yeah.
he used to recite. His voice is bass, very low.
Yeah.
Because the bass complements the tenor. You can work together. You got a very high, very low. It sounds very nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so an uncle told him, he basically discouraged him from reciting. And I hate that. It's not good. You shouldn't do that to children because they stop reciting. It's not like you just say, I'm going to advise you to recite.
Yeah.
Oh, your voice isn't good. You shouldn't do like that. The child will, instead of taking that as feedback, they will stop.
So have you ever got that kind of feedback, and how do you deal with it?
So, alhamdulillah, I've been in a fortunate position not to have received a compliment directly to me. Perhaps people have said things when I was younger, but I personally, maybe they were scared of my dad. I don't know. But I definitely know many children who have experienced that, and it's not good. So if you are an adult and you are listening to this, please don't do that to children. Encourage them, even if their voice sounds terrible. Don't do that. Find the good in it and then enhance the good.
Right. So I feel like, speaking of adults wanting their children to get into recitation and stuff, how do you motivate them to start reciting, even with their maybe not so good voices, but slowly, how do you push them into this?
Sure. So with recitation, normally the child has an interest in reciting to begin with. They like listen to Nohas on YouTube, online. They are inspired by a reciter beforehand. They tend to have a small desire. After that, we have to just grow that flame. So that's really, I feel that's the starting point. You can start from scratch, but so if you want to start from scratch, probably just show the child people reciting. Then the desire is ignited. From that, you have to nurture it slowly but surely. Encourage. If they are at home and they are blasting Nohas 24/7, don't stop them.
Right.
Let them do what they need to do. When I was 10, we used to play Xbox. I used to play Need for Speed games.
Yeah.
You can change the audio, so you switch it from music, and you can add. Yeah, you can
background.
basically. So you add, instead of having music, I switched it to Nohas. So I'm there with my Lamborghini and playing my game, blasting through the police. Got my Nohas on. So whilst I was playing, I was reciting, and I used to put it full blast, volume 100. Now, not once did any of my parents or my brother or my sister say anything. They just let me be. Do the same thing, because if I was discouraged, it gives a negative connotation to recitation. People be like, oh, that's the thing that you should ignore or push away. And that should be encouraged from the family. The family are the foundation. So if they're the ones who are discouraging the individual, it gives a negative connotation. Rather, let the person nurture themselves, let them recite, and then eventually they will establish themselves in their own right.
Right. So how do you transition from having a passion for reciting and reciting normally in majalis, programs, stuff like that, into a more professional career in reciting?
Okay.
How's the transition?
So for myself, I try and avoid the word career because that tends to be associated with like work things. This is more related to khidmah things. So
Passion.
And the word profession, see, I agree with you that there's a certain, it's like a football player. You start off slowly, then you're semi-professional, and you're professional. I think when it comes to khidmah, we can look at it perhaps in a different way. Khidmah is based on intention rather than quality. Intention and hard work is the category. Because with the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they attend majalis when there's one attendee, and they perhaps don't attend majalis when there's 10,000 attendees. So the category isn't based on necessarily the quality of the person on the minbar. It comes down to the heart. So that is the category. So if we want to define profession when it comes to recitation, it's how pure your heart is. Purity of heart is dependent on the individual rather than the perceived concept. Khulus. That is the category of how it is categorized in the divine realm. So if you want to be a professional reciter, you have to start from day one with a pure heart. Now, does that mean you're going to not be fazed by the shaitan throughout your whole career? No, shaitan will come. Somebody praises you because you did a fantastic lecture, or you did something really good in the mosque, or you have a very nice voice. the shaitan will come. Oh, look at you. Look at you.
Oh,
You've got your attention now. He starts playing with the heart. So that's what you have to remind yourself. You know, I'm here as a servant. Now, one time, a couple of people told me, I know a reciter, that he actually stopped reciting because he was worried that his ego is getting to him. In my opinion, this is wrong.
Okay.
I've always disagreed with this because at the end of the day, you can never be short of reciters. What you should do is work on yourself whilst reciting.
Right.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an innate fitrah which can be developed. This development can be achieved whilst reciting. So don't stop it. Okay, I've got a bit of an ego. Right. Maybe I should just keep working on this ego, but I'll carry on reciting and I'll get there. Work hard on it. Reflection, ponder, spend an hour after Salat al-Layl. I need to sort this out, and it will go away by asking Allah for it to go away. Never stop. That is what I'd say is a professional reciter.
So, what was your first success, big success in your journey of recitation?
I would say the first step was just getting on the minbar. As a child, I was a bit shy, up to the extent where I'd hold the paper and the paper was shaking. I'm like saying, Ya Hussein b'damayirna, Imam Hussein is always in our conscious and our thoughts. And I'm like, what am I reading? It was to that level.
I can't believe that.
So then it got to a stage where I'm like, I can't hold this paper. So I had to use two hands with the paper because otherwise the paper was going to fall. I was that nervous. So I had to break through that. I think that for me, that was my first success because I managed to overcome my fear.
Right.
After that, with practice, it stopped shaking. So if anyone wants to overcome this barrier, it's all about practice. If you want to try something and get good at it, discipline. Two factors. You have motivation and discipline. Discipline is better than motivation, as known, because motivation, it comes, then it goes. It comes, then it goes. Discipline is a constant state of factor of success. So you have to be disciplined. Keep practicing every day. Honestly, I used to come back from school.
Yeah.
I wanted to play for the NBA.
Okay.
And I wanted to become a reciter. That was my two things. Now, unfortunately, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not unfortunately, rather Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He guides people in mysterious ways. You know, I got quite well with basketball. I was the school captain for basketball. But then obviously I'm limited in height. You know, I'm not 7 foot. I'm 5'10" or 5'11"-ish. So, you know, that was the limitation. But it's a sport. But I used to come home and just practice 3-4 hours after school every single day. 3-4 hours, sometimes even 5-6 hours every single day.
Basketball.
No, recitation.
Okay.
Black basketball is like an hour or two. I would just practice. I would do my homework, play basketball, shoot a few hoops. The rest of the night, practice every single day. There wasn't a day, there literally wasn't a day that I didn't practice. And that was just because I had a desire for it. You have to have that initial desire.
Right. So I think you're the most successful or popular nasheed that you've ever done is Walking to Karbala. And that's what I was trying to hum in the beginning, in case you didn't understand. But so how was that phase when you got, how did that, like the production phase, how did that go? And how's the feedback you got from the community? Because I feel like this one was a little bit more on the upbeat side, I would say. And I'm sure you've had lots of different kind of feedback on it. Can you just explain how that phase went for you?
Yeah, sure. So with children, you need to have a tune that is catered for them. If you're going to use a tune that's a bit slow, they'll just say it's boring. They won't watch it. So you have to cater for them whilst not compromising the akhlaqi principles of aza. Correct. Because it's not appropriate for you to do something that's a clapping beat, nasheed in the noha, but you can lift the tune a bit to cater for the child, to encourage them. Right. Initially, we our intention behind this specific noha was, you know, there was some negative commentary regarding the Arba'een walk, which I did not like. You know, saying that the Arba'een walk, they were discussing about the Arba'een walk in a negative way. And the Arba'een walk is one of the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed with. It's such a holy walk where people gather in the remembrance of Imam Hussein. So we had to counteract these negative thoughts. I had the tune from a long time ago, but I didn't have words for it. So then I thought, well, let's do it about the Arba'in. Then the walking to Karbala came about from that side of things. After that, we then wanted to make it into an animation instead of a normal studio production. So we worked hard with a team who made the production. It took us about 6 months to make. I had a certain vision. I wanted it to be realistic. I wanted to show the child from start to finish the process, as much detail as possible to give them an idea in a fun way, hence why it's animation. So we had about 4 verses because they charge you for the minute. So we had 4 verses. Each verse is around a minute. And we picked a child's voice, Sayyid Mujtaba from Manchester. His vocals were very good, still are very good. Arguably one of the best reciters that I've heard in the children's side of things in the modern era. And so he joined in with the chorus, and I did the verses, and he complemented the verse.
Right.
So it was very nice like that.
So just out of curiosity, is his voice more baritone, or where's his pitch?
His pitch, so obviously he's not baligh yet, so it's very high.
Okay, so it's the same as yours.
Yeah, but of course mine, because I am baligh, it's 2 high pitches that complement.
That's what I was asking about.
Because if you go for a bass, walking to, it puts the kid off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and then it went off. So what the intention was to counteract negative thoughts of the Arba'in, and then it became something else from there.
MashaAllah, I think it was a huge success for if I go to any child and I play the tune or something, they'll pick it up so automatically and start reciting. It's so beautiful to see. Talking about the tune of Walking to Karbala, I want to go a little bit deeper into the discussion where how do you draw the line between halal music production and where it gets a little bit of a shady grey area?
Sure. So with matters of fiqh, we go back to our marja'iyya.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to listen to things that are played in amusement and entertainment gatherings, as per the jurisprudence of Sayyid Sistani, may Allah prolong his life.
I mean,
things like R&B music, things that make you want to dance, make you want to get out of the realm of reality. These kind of music is prohibited. Now, I have spoke with people, and rather I've worked with people who have misunderstood this, because they say that you can't play instruments in Noha. That's wrong. You can play. That's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
The instrument itself, if used in a halal production, is a-okay.
Yeah.
If you're using the same instrument, for example, the drum is used to help with the beat of the matam. If you use that drum in the studio to help with the matam, fantastic. If the drum is used to make women and men dance in a disco or in a gathering of sin, that drum then becomes haram. The instrument itself is halal if used in the correct way. And I understand that some cultures, they don't like this. That doesn't mean it's haram. This is very important. I want people to, this is so important, because that is where the line is.
Right.
You can't say that my culture supersedes the religion. That's not what Islam is. Islam is beautiful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us rules and regulations and guidelines to follow to enhance the religion. So, for example, if I didn't use the drum effect in the walking tail, it would bring away the beauty of a production that we try to make as best as possible, just like other people who try and beautify their own production. Absolutely. We have to utilize the things that are halal. We shouldn't stop ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us abilities. Did Allah say you can't play football games? Did Allah say you can't play, for example, Rocket League?
Rocket League.
Although just turn off the music. When you're playing, turn off the music.
Keep walking to Karbala as a background.
Yeah, maybe you can do that if you wanted to. So that's why I'd say stick with the marja'iyya. That's what's important.
So yeah, it's like a knife. You can use it in the right way or in the wrong way.
Exactly.
It's in your hands. So I want to talk about the idea of Shia influencers. How do you see the need of them, and how can we promote them?
Sure. So in this modern era, which is described by the ulama as the end of occultation.
Yes.
Where there are signs which have been written centuries ago regarding what's going to happen right before the dhuhur, the reappearance of the Imam, we can confidently say this is the end period. And it's so important for us to try and push our social media as much as possible. There are many other people who are working shaitani agendas, or maybe not even necessarily just shaitani agendas, people working very hard in other realms of ideologies to try and promote their cause. Now, we as Ithna Ashari Shi'as are blessed with the purest pathway, the correct religion, and in the right wilayah, we have been given the biggest blessing anyone could think of. So why not promote it in the correct way? This is so essential. What I think we are lacking at the moment as Shias in the West, as Shias who are maybe English, because we're not in the West at the moment, Shias who are English speaking, is more content. To have good content, you need to have good Shia influencers. What are good Shia influencers? People who, when you look at them, they try and emulate the teachings of Rasulullah, both from an academic perspective and akhlaq perspective. Highlighting the second one, very important, because Rasulullah stressed those two things. Your religion, your deen, and akhlaq, even in reference to people who you get married. They asked them, who do you get married? Those 2 points. You have to have good deen, good Islam, good iman, and your akhlaq needs to be very good. These 2 concepts. That is what you have as a role model. That is a role model. And by the way, a role model isn't just limited to just a scholar or a lecturer or a person who does recitations of Nohas or Azar or Quran. That's not the limitation. You can be a Shia influencer in your own realm. A person has a business. You are in charge of this business. You are a limited company. You've got staff underneath you. You are being the Shia influencer if you implement those 2 factors. People underneath you will see, oh, this is a good boss. He respects me. He takes care of me. He prays on time. He's so devoted. He's kind and caring. Having those principles, that is how you become an influencer. Then what you can do is get this influence and try and portray it in a positive form. Some people then can use that in social media, because then the other people from other sects, other religions around the world, different areas of the world will see, oh, that's what a Shia is. He's got such good akhlaq. Why is he speaking so kindly? He's not aggressive. He's not swearing on his YouTube channel. He's being very kind and caring. Okay, I might actually look up to this guy. I like this guy. I might actually follow this guy. I might subscribe to him. I'm going to follow this guy, see what he gets up to. That individual becomes a representative of Rasulullah.
So sort of painting a good picture of Islam encourages people to share your mindset and ideology, maybe.
Critical, very critical. And sticking to our fiqh.
Right.
We can't diverge, because if we start diverging, we're making up our own religion. That's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to stick to these principles, and it will beautify the religion even further. We will be a social media force that people look up to and will want to join, inshallah.
Inshallah. How do you see the need for community involvement and integration for reciters who are just starting out and getting into the field?
Sure. So what's really essential is for the adults to understand that these young individuals, these beautiful young individuals, want to serve the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, want to get involved in the Quran recitation. And that is a blessing in itself, because at such a young age, people could be doing all sorts, having girlfriends, boyfriends, listening to music, getting up to no good. So if a child comes to you wearing his jubbah, he's got his hat on, he's got his little Quran book, all excited and ready to learn. Or for example, he's got his notebook of Nohas that he's memorized. This is a ni'mah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed in the community. What the community leaders and what the community adults, as well as the parents, need to understand that we need to nurture these individuals. Perhaps the mosque is limited on how many reciters can recite per night.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we can't utilize them. What you do is you get all the reciters, understand who's interested, look at their skill sets. The better people who have a better skill set, give them the more responsibility.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with giving a person with a better skill set more responsibility. For example, you are on the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. You need to do du'as for Imam al-Mahdi Ajala Faraj al-Sharif. There's quite a few du'as. And everyone comes and everyone wants to listen and everyone wants to connect to Imam al-Mahdi at this critical point.
Right.
Now you bring a child who is 9, who doesn't have any skill set. He's just started off. his voice is flat and monotone, and you want him to recite in front of 1,000 people, yet these people are expecting to be connected. This doesn't make sense. You need to utilize the best ones for that. Now, that doesn't mean go tell that 9-year-old you have to stop, like we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
This 9-year-old said, MashaAllah, you've got such a good intention. Come on over. Let's go start. Let's have a listen to what you've got. Oh, that's very nice. When did he learn that? Even if his voice is flat.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you, MashaAllah, you'll find something good. There's definitely going to be something good in there. You read every single word correctly. You pronounced it as correctly. You looked at me with engagement. You seemed enthusiastic. Anything that you find, take it. Compliment. Then, after the compliments, add on your feedback. Right, so why don't we do this instead of this? Don't say that wasn't nice.
Constructive feedback.
Never say this was not good.
Right.
Never. Say, because we have to understand that children these days are very sensitive. Any sharp comment, they'll quit. Don't do that. And that does not mean that we're in a snowflake society. That's not what that means. It means that we're in an era of technology. They interact less with humans, so the relationship is with the phone. That means they struggle. They have a bit of anxiety. Let's work on that. Don't cut them out. It's not snowflakes. It's just that we're struggling a bit in this. They had their own issues back in the day. Oh, if you want me to list some issues that they had back in the day, we don't have those issues.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, we have great akhlaq. We have good social awareness. It's just that we struggle sometimes to interact, and that's okay.
Right.
What we do is take them, get the positive, give a positive feedback, then give them the actual feedback that you want to give, including the good feedback that you found, and then compliment it at the end. Sandwich. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is what you do. Then we allocate the best ones to the tasks based on their skill set, and the ones who are struggling, invest even more time on them so that they can reach that skill set. So then if they wanted to recite on such a night, they have the ability to recite on the night, and then they can use their own social media as well to recite.
So I think that's perfect balance between encouraging and giving responsibility to recite. So I think one of the challenges our youth face in the community is that when they get into the field of recitation and they start becoming popular, their YouTube videos, they're blowing up, fame comes with it. And for a lot of people, it's a mix. It's a good thing and it's a challenge. So how do you advise our youth or anybody at this point to how do you deal with that fame?
Sure, so being known
Yeah.
isn't necessarily a bad thing,
Yes.
but it's being known for the right reasons. Within being known for the right reasons, you have to look at yourself, because then that's just between you and God. So that's the two factors that we have to look at.
Okay.
Naturally, when a person goes into any realm that's regarding public appearance, for example, you're in charge of a business, you have 2,000 employees, you are considered famous within your own realm.
Yeah.
That also applies in the Islamic realm. If you're a lecturer, people will know you. If you are a reciter, then people will know you. If you work hard on khidmah of Ahl al-Bayt, you will be known. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you in a position of influence. Even if you weren't in a position of influence and you didn't have any subscribers and your voice wasn't all good, you can still have an ego, thinking that you are famous because two guys did matam for you. So it can be from literally nothing to becoming the biggest reciter. So this actually applies to everyone. How do we counteract this? We have to understand that our khidmah isn't for us. We're reciting not for the self. This is all to help bring Imam al-Mahdi out of occultation. That is our objective in life. There is nothing more than that, because if we manage to bring the Imam out of occultation, this Imam will avenge Imam al-Hussein, which will bring world justice and order, and that is nearness to Allah, which is the ultimate goal. That's the plan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has implemented, which will happen. We're just trying to hasten it as much as possible. The reciter is an aid to this, providing that their intention is good. They are considered a representative God if their intention is clean. So always remind yourself, when the feeling of, oh, I'm famous, I'm a bit of ego, remember that this is the shaitan doing his trickery. I am a servant of Ahl al-Bayt alayhimus salam. I'm trying to help Imam al-Hujjah as much as possible because he is aware of everything that I'm doing right now. I need to just humble myself, remind myself, moment of reflection, go back into it. It's quite interesting because the feeling that you'll have of fame, the initial feeling that you'll have is almost like a contaminated experience.
How's
Because it's like I'm here to do a good thing,
that? Yeah.
but then the shaitan's playing with me. So it's pure, but there's something in there.
Right.
Once you understand that this concept, I don't want to apply it into my life. Rather, I just want to serve Ahlul Bayt. I'm not interested in people's attention like that. I'd rather just help a community. Let's just do the service act and that's it. If a person understands this, they will start to not even like these things. They avoid, oh, come, let's have a picture. Come on, oh, you want to take a picture of me? Come on over. You won't do that. You'll be like, oh, I don't want to do this. But if it helps them, if it makes them encouraged by us being in a picture together, it might inspire them. Of course, come on over, let's take a picture. That mindset will happen eventually. So it's switching it from self to imam. Self, imam. I can't highlight that even further. Self to the imam. That's the critical point here.
I think that's a really noble goal to have in mind, and check yourself against to make sure you're not straying from the correct path. So, last I wanted to ask you about. You must have some interesting stories as a person who's often invited to communities to recite for them, and how your experiences. I'm sure you have some interesting stories.
Yeah, so every community is a bit different.
Yeah.
You have the academics, you have the people who are not so academic, but they're more into azaa. Everyone's different. Then you have the Pakistani culture, you have the Iraqi culture, the Iranians, the people who are mixed. So everyone's different. And really our idea is to try and cater for them. And what I find interesting is how to cater for them within the poetry itself. So I'll give you an example. We're here in a Khoja environment who do matam where they raise the hand and bring it down quickly.
Okay.
So we've managed to find ways of understanding how that's recited. You count the amount of beats per minute. And I was looking at videos and it averaged out to be 72 beats per minute, the standard Noha.
That's a good number.
Which is, when I looked at it, I'm like, hang on, that's not right. So then I checked it again. I'm like, it's 72 again. So, the standard one that you guys do came out at 72. So then what we did was, we counted the beats per minute, broke it down per line. We averaged around 7 to 8 syllables per line.
Okay.
If you add too many syllables in English, it sounds like a rap. Too many words. You cut it down and add emphasis into the Noha, it becomes something nice. So inshallah, I'll recite for you an example of this.
Go ahead.
We've got a Noha for Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, where we're saying Salamun alayk Amir, Salamun alayk Amir. And it just describes our praisals for Imam Ali and what happened. سلام عليك أمير سلام عليك أمير سلام عليك أمير سلام عليك أمير. Who else born in the Kaaba, doors parted for your mother? After this they were still tight. She remained there for 3 nights. This was only by God's grace. Ali truly blessed this place. Salamun alayka Amir. Salamun alayka Amir. Yet for your blood such a thirst, they are eternally cursed. When in combat none could face, so they resort to disgrace. In Kufa a blade is drawn, Ali kneels betrayed at dawn. Salamun alayka Amir, Salamun alayka Amir. You had kindness in your eye, be just to him your reply. Succeeded was Ali's cry. Muhammad is now nearby. This is my farewell goodbye. Oh, how our Imam would die. Salamun alayk Amir. Salamun alayk Amir.
MashaAllah, it was beautiful. Ahsantum, Jazakallah. Thank you for your time. Inshallah, we look forward to hosting you here in Dar es Salaam again soon. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.